The Arc Pulse is hands down the best iPhone case I have ever used. Prove me wrong. Now, this is actually the second generation of Arc Pulse that I have had on my phones. This is the 17 Pro. This is actually a dummy phone because I am filming with my 17 Pro. However, I also used this case for about a year on my 15 Pro before I upgraded to 17 Pro, and thankfully the brand was willing to give me another one, as these continue to be my favorite case. And don't get me wrong, I'm using probably over 10 different cases at the moment because I'm working on a buyer's guide, but I do want to talk a little bit about the Arc Pulse in a little bit more detail. Now, this is what you would call a minimalist style phone case, in the fact that it doesn't actually cover all that much. It really only covers the most important parts of the phone. As you can see, it gives a lip over top of the camera bump, so it's not going to run into all those scratches that the 17 Pro is prone to because of the aluminum body. And then on the bottom, it has basically a pressure fit piece on the bottom. So if it hits the ground, there is a bump there. If it hits the ground there, it has a bump there. So it's all protected all the way around, but you actually get to feel your phone. 17 Pro is a really cool phone. These started around, I think it was $1,100. And most people throw a plastic case on their phone, so they never actually get to feel what their phone feels like. And I have to say, it is 100% worth it. Now, as for the specs, this is milled out of a single block of CNC machined aluminum, and it has an anti-scratch film on the top of it. However, you can see there are some scratches to it after using it for a couple months. Between the two pieces, it is 17 grams, and they are pressure fit. So you basically put the case on like that, you put it over the bump, and then you press down, and it pressure fits onto there. And then for the bottom, it pressure fits on like that, just like this. Even this dummy phone, it fits on no problem. It is also worth mentioning right here that this case has never fallen off whatsoever. That pressure fit does work very well, and that has never been an issue for me. And then of course, because it is a minimalist case, you still have full access to all of your different buttons with no problem at all. Now, I can't necessarily speak to how well it does this, but it has been tested up to a 10-foot drop, and it disperses the energy from the drop throughout no problem. The actual metal pieces have a rubber gasket on the inside there that you can basically pull out there if you want to clean it out, and like that. And then again, you just put it on, and it pressure fits on. Now, so what do I like and not like about this little case? Number one thing that I like is its minimalist design. The way they design it is so that when you hold your phone, like normal people would hold their phone, you don't actually touch the case itself. If you put your pinky down there, you're not touching the case, and all throughout. So the idea is, it's like using your phone like a normal phone, and you can use it and it's comfortable to hold. However, it's protecting the things that are most important, like the camera bump, and giving edges around so that if you drop it flat on the ground, you shouldn't run into any issues. The next thing I like is the aesthetics. I actually think it looks a lot better on the 17 Pro. I thought it looked a little bit funky on my 15 Pro, but I like it a lot more on the 17 Pro, as it's a little bit less weird. There's quite a few less kind of rounded edges and stuff, so it feels a little bit nicer, a little less space age. And I also like that even when you do have those moments where you touch the case, it feels a lot like you're using the phone itself, because it also is aluminum. So there really is a seamless design between using your phone and using the case. And another thing I like is how compatible it is with MagSafe accessories, as it does work with a lot of smaller MagSafe wallets. It works with a lot of MagSafe components. There are certain things that don't fit right here, like probably like a solid state drive probably wouldn't fit here because it does bump into right here. It doesn't have a completely flat space, but it does work with most MagSafe accessories. You just got to be a little bit more picky than I'd say most cases are. Now, as for downsides to this case that I've run into, is the first thing is confidence. There's been a few times that I've owned this case where I actually switched to other cases just because I mentally couldn't get around the fact that my phone was so exposed to drops. I've never had any damage happen because of using this case, and I have dropped this phone. I use my other phone, not this dummy phone, quite a lot, and it does get dropped, and it's never been a concern. I've never seen damage because of it. I think I did have one nick on my 15 Pro back when I was using it because I hit it on this ring light when I was passing by it. But otherwise, it really hasn't been an issue. But you do have a little bit of that anxiety from somebody that's put on thousands of cases, as I used to work in cell phone retail. It is a little bit hard hard to just kind of mentally get past the fact that your phone is so exposed. The next downside is the price. This thing is expensive. At just a little under $100 for this silver aluminum version, and their base version being a little under $70, and honestly, you can actually get a Damascus version that goes up to $1,600. That is pretty wild. So ultimately, the cost is a big one, as most people probably spend in the $35 to $40 range for a really good case. This is incredibly expensive for what you get, but if you're somebody that's a digital minimalist and really wants to be able to use their phone the way it's intended without hindering the design, this is gonna be your best bet. And that is about it. I have to say, I keep coming back to this case. This is a really, really good case if you're somebody that likes the design of the phone to be seen and felt and used. If you're somebody that does worry and has a lot of anxiety around, around damaging their phone, I wouldn't recommend this. This case is definitely on the minimalist side. There is a lot of exposed parts of the phone, and so if that is something that worries you, don't get this case. This is not for you, but if you are okay with a little bit of additional risk with most of the protection that most cases do get you, this is a really good deal, especially for those people that keep their phones around a long time and want to actually feel their phone and actually use it as intended. I am going to be coming out with a buyer's guide here soon of my top 10 best iPhone cases, and once it's done, I'll put it up on the screen right here, so make sure to check that out.